What's good, folks? It's RFG back at it today, and I'm here to decode the natal chart of Haile Selassie. Okay, this individual is a former emperor, former ruler over Ethiopia, and he was partly responsible for defeating the Italian army that invaded Ethiopia back in the early 30s, the early to mid 30s, I believe. And um, this individual is basically considered godlike according to the Rastafarian religion. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, there's information going around that this individual really wasn't who he said he was a part of, Freemasonry, um, you know, and was somehow part of the elite's agenda. But what I will say is, how was he really part of their agenda when at the end of the day, if it wasn't for this guy, Ethiopia would be an Italian colony. Ethiopia would be a colony of Italy if it wasn't for this individual right here. You know what I'm saying? So people can say what they want. You know, everybody has a good side. Everybody has a bad side. Everybody has their own inner demons, and everybody handles their inner demons in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is going to come to you in a shining armor, you know what I'm saying, looking like Hercules with a damn halo over their head. You know what I'm saying? People just don't understand. Like, everybody has positive aspects and negative aspects. Everybody, all 7.5 billion people on the earth. That's what makes, this thing called life, called quote unquote life, so unique, so beautiful, you know? And when we look at somebody's natal chart, it shows us the opportunities that somebody is given, by the universe. A natal chart is basically the opportunities that are, destined to be presented to us in this lifetime. And us being sentient beings, we have the power to either accept those opportunities or to ignore those opportunities. Okay? So when we look at this right here, this is how the stars and the planets were aligned around the earth at the moment of our birth. Okay, this is showing the opportunities that were given to Haile Selassie, see, in his life. Okay, so when we look at this in a nutshell, like I said, it's really easy to look at. You see where I'm putting the arrow. This right here, you see this right here is AC, but this stands for ascendant. Your ascendant sign. The ascendant sign is the star constellation that is rising from the east. That is rising from the east. And the descendant right here, okay, that's the arrow right here. That's opposite of the ascendant, the descendant. Okay, these are the star constellations that are moving downward on the western horizon. Okay, that are moving in a downward like motion. You see, and these stars and planets right here are on the complete opposite side of the Earth. What would be called the bottom of the Earth. The second, third, fourth, and fifth houses, the sixth house as well. When you get up to the seventh house, that's the western horizon, where the image of the stars and the sun goes down. Okay, So when you look at the ascendant sign is how we present ourselves to the public upon, meeting people for the first time in person, and just, the energy we carry when we initiate our everyday activities. That's our ascendant. So when we see Haile Selassie's general sign, it's Leo. He's born July 23rd, and 2-3 goes back to 5, which is Mercury energy. You see, so he was a Leo that carried that Mercury energy, which means he was a natural intellectual. He was a very good communicator, very tactful when he carried out his everyday activities. And he, just very intellectual, very restless mind, very analytical of people, other people, and situations and certain things. And he may have been overly analytical. Okay, because right here, you see he also has Mercury in his first house. Not only was he born on the 23rd of the month, which is associated with Mercury energy, he also had Mercury in his first house, which ties him to that energy. You see, the first house rules the face and the brain. It rules the face and the brain. Okay, so any planet or star constellation in the first house is going to affect the person's face and the person's brain. Now, like I said, Mercury is the planet of communication and intellect. Okay, so a person with Mercury here is going to be highly intellectual and an expert communicator. So more than likely, Selassie knew more than one language. Okay, by looking at Mercury in his first house. Him having a Leo ascendant is just going to amplify his Leo energy. Okay, because he's already a Leo, so he's a Leo with a Leo ascendant. You see? So that's just going to intensify his Leo energy. Okay, so, somebody who is a Leo with a Leo ascendant would be someone who is naturally assertive, naturally confident, naturally masculine, naturally, you would say gregarious. That's a word for it. Somebody who just naturally attracts suitors to whatever their cause may be. You see? Because the sun, attracts things, attracts the planetary bodies to orbit around it. Okay, so somebody with a Leo ascendant, with a Leo sun and a Leo ascendant is definitely going to have a very magnetic aura, very magnetic presence and a magnetic aura. Okay, and that can either be used for negative purposes or, for positive purposes, all depending on which pole of this sign and this sun placement is going to be placed, all depending on the polarity. When we look at Selassie's second house, he has Saturn in his second house. Saturn is the great restrictor. Saturn is the great restrictor, the great tester. Okay, all about structure, order, discipline, restriction. Okay, teaching, lessons, elderly, age differences. Okay, all shown by Saturn. Now, the second house rules what we have, our material possessions, how we feel about our material possessions, our physical talents, okay, are shown in the second house. Our metabolism is shown in the second house. Our life as a toddler is shown in the second house. Okay? The material assets that we acquire after our career is shown in the second house. So by Selassie having Saturn in the second house, that basically shows that even though he was born into royalty, he always felt like he never had enough. He always felt like he didn't have what he deserved as far as material possessions. He felt like, his material assets were restricted, basically lower than what he would actually want. Okay, with Saturn in his second house. Saturn is the great restrictor. So it shows that, maybe he had a lot of political power, but it shows that the family members around him had more assets than him and were, given rulership or, authority over those possessions that he really wanted, that he wanted to have. You see, that's what Saturn in his second house shows. It shows restriction of material assets and material possessions. Okay? And, even though he was born into royalty, Saturn in his second house is still going to restrict him to possess what he really wanted to possess in his lifetime. Okay? And over time, Saturn in the second house made him a expert, made him a master and an expert of financial analytics, saving assets, saving material possessions, just understanding what holds real value as far as assets. Okay, Saturn can cause you to master that over time when Saturn is placed in your second house. So basically, after your first Saturn return, after the age of 30, when you hit the age of 30 and beyond, Saturn is going to bring abundance in your life when it feels that you have become mature enough and wise enough. So in that area of life, wherever Saturn is placed, when you hit the age of 30, that's when you're going to see more of that in abundance. And in this case, in Selassie's case, this was his material possessions. So he wasn't able to really tap into his material possessions, his material wealth, until he hit the age of 30 and beyond. Okay? So that's what Saturn in his second house basically shows. Right here, he has Uranus in his third house. The third house rules our siblings. The third house rules our ability to communicate. It rules how we view and how we feel about forms of communication, like poetry, writing, okay, journalism, screenwriting, script writing, songwriting, poetry, things of that nature, and our relationship with our cousins and our siblings. That is all seen in our third house. So by Selassie having Uranus here, Uranus in the third house is going to signify that Selassie may have had an Aquarius sibling. Yeah, an Aquarius sibling, or a sibling that was born on the 4th, 13th, or 22nd, 31st of the month. Okay, Selassie may have had an Aquarius sibling, or a sibling who was born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, or 31st of the month. And this sibling of Selassie's may have been very rebellious, very unstable, okay, very rebellious natured, very unpredictable, very spontaneous, very unique. Basically, this sibling carried a very individualistic mindset. Okay, may have been a natural individualist. Okay, a natural rebel. Okay, this sibling may have been very rebellious to Selassie's parents by looking at Uranus in Selassie's third house. Okay, this just signifies a very spontaneous, unpredictable, rebellious, innovative. This sibling may have had a very innovative mind, innovative thought process, may have been very intelligent. This particular sibling of Selassie's. Okay? Because, like I said, every planetary placement has a positive side and a negative side. Okay? His fourth house, fifth house, and sixth house are empty. You see? They're empty. So we would just go off of the star constellations that are placed in these houses if we want to get the gist of what kind of energies are going to be impacting these areas of life for Selassie. You see? Selassie has the dark moon Lilith in his fourth house, along with Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio and Sagittarius in his fourth house, along with the dark moon Lilith, which shows that there was some kind of morbid energy around his mother figure. Some kind of morbid energy was being placed around his mother figure. And his upbringing from the ages of 6 to 12. Okay? Now, I do not know what that is because I do not know his family personally. Okay? I am not related to Selassie, so I do not know. So this is just me looking at his natal chart, you know, somebody from the outside looking in. Okay? Now, when we go to his next planetary placement, we see that, okay, he has Mars in his seventh house. Now, Mars in somebody's seventh house can signify somebody being in a relationship with an Aries woman, or with a woman born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th of the month, or somebody being in a relationship with somebody who's in the military, or being in a relationship with somebody who's an athlete, or somebody who's attracted to masculine activities. Mars in the seventh house can also signify somebody getting into a lot of conflicts and altercations, okay? And I'm talking about huge arguments and arguments on a frequent basis with your spouse, okay, with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, Mars in the seventh house, that is what that signifies. Okay, basically, energy of confrontational energy shown in his relationship life. Okay, so, you know, this shows the relationship that Selassie had with his wife may have been very rocky, may have been up and down, may have been a quote-unquote love-hate relationship. Okay? And yeah, I did the research, folks, and you know, my natal chart knowledge did serve me well, because I found out that Selassie's wife was an Aries woman. Okay? If you do the research, and like I said, we could put this in right now. Okay? This right here is Selassie's mother. But if we do the research, we will find out that Selassie's wife, okay, is an Aries woman. Okay, right here. Menen Asfa. Menen Asfa is Haile Selassie's wife. Okay, and then when we look at her birthday, here we go. Okay, bingo, right here, April 3rd, 1891, April 3rd. Okay, so Selassie was married, you know, and had children with an Aries woman, and this was shown in Selassie's natal chart, okay, by looking at Mars in his seventh house. All right? Okay, it just shows you that this natal chart shit is not no bullshit, folks. It's not no bullshit. You know, you can have multiple people with similar charts, which shows that they were given similar opportunities in life. But it is up to us to take advantage of those opportunities. Okay? Okay? Right here, you have Jupiter in Selassie's ninth house. Now, people with Jupiter in their ninth house, they're going to be very optimistic people. They're going to be very upbeat, happy, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, joyful, very spiritually righteous people. These are definitely the kind of people that always seem to see the cup half full instead of half empty. That's going to be these kind of people. You know what I'm saying? These people, man, survive turmoil and chaos and survive, calamities and unfortunate events more than any other kind of people. Okay? And that would be people with Jupiter in their ninth house, Jupiter in their 8th, 9th, and 12th houses. People with Jupiter in their 8th, 9th, or 12th houses, man, they can go through some shit. I'll just put it to you like that, and still survive with nothing, no harm, no trauma or harm. Because those kind of people with Jupiter in their 8th, 9th, or 12th houses are naturally optimistic, positive-minded people. Okay? And they attract so many suitors, that just admire them for that kind of demeanor. Okay? And Jupiter in the ninth house also signified that he was going to travel to many different foreign lands. And the people that he met up with in those foreign lands, it shows that he was destined to be accepted there and to be held in high regards, okay, of people from different cultures. So it shows that people, from different cultures, they held Selassie in a very high regard. Now, how can we prove that? Selassie was declared a god in the Rastafarian religion, and the Rastafarian religion is, okay, that is something of the Jamaicans. That's over in Jamaica. Okay? So the Jamaicans declared Selassie a god. And they lived on the other damn side of the world, of Selassie. Okay, Selassie was, he was based in Ethiopia. Okay, so it just goes to show you, he affected people all the way on the opposite side of the earth. Okay? People with strong ninth houses, especially, see, Jupiter is very comfortable in the ninth house because the ninth house is naturally ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So Jupiter is home here, and Jupiter is in a fire planet of Aries in the ninth house. So Jupiter is very comfortable in his ninth house, which shows that, this guy was a true archer, was a person who went after his dreams, a go-getter. Okay? What is the ninth house and what is Sagittarius? The archer, the person, the hunter, the person who goes after what they want to achieve in life, who goes after their dreams. Okay? That is seen in the ninth house. Okay? Michael Jordan has Jupiter in the ninth house. Okay? Very, very, very significant placement. Very significant placement. Right here we have the 10th house, which is all about public recognition, so-called fame, and public recognition. 10th house also rules the energy around our careers. The 10th house also rules our relationship with our fatherly figures. The 10th house also rules the bone structure in our bodies. Okay? That's all shown in the 10th house. Okay? So this basically shows that he was recognized. Okay? Right here, you have Neptune, the planet of martyrism, right? Neptune is the planet of martyrism, right? And spirituality, right? And mysticism, right? So Selassie was basically declared a god according to Rastafarianism. according to the Rastafarians, Selassie was declared a god according to that religion. So right here, Neptune in the 10th house. 10th house is what you're going to be recognized for, and Neptune is tied to martyrism and godhood. It is. It's tied to mysticism, martyrism, self-sacrifice, and godhood, spirituality, spiritual wisdom. That's what Neptune represents, and that's shown in his 10th house. That's what he's being recognized for. Bruce Lee also had this placement, I believe, of Neptune in his 10th house. Okay? Pluto in his 10th house shows that Selassie would have been very successful if he would have pursued a career in investigative work, in psychology, dealing with deceased, anything tied to deceased bodies, or dealing with deceased bodies, anything tied to digging underground, mining, recycling certain materials, mining, Pluto in the 10th house, like I said, anything tied to investigative work or investigative research would also be tied to Pluto energy. Sexual healing or sexual counseling tied to Pluto energy. Pluto is also tied to anything that is considered taboo, anything that is considered unknown or taboo. Okay, so that's basically uncovering secrets. Okay, things that are hidden. Okay, magnetic, atomic like energy, all forms of energy that cannot be seen with the physical eye. All forms of energy that cannot be seen with the physical eye are tied to Pluto energy, to Plutonian energy. Okay? So Plutonian energy is also associated with interdimensional energy from a whole different dimension that cannot be seen with this physical eye, because this physical eye can only see light photons. Okay? Matter that consists of light photons. Okay? And that's when you tie it into Venus energy. Pluto is the opposite. Pluto is all about digging deep, the taboo, the unknown. Okay? Anything tied to that energy would have been a perfect career field for Selassie. So Pluto and Neptune in his 10th house were very visible and easily seen throughout his life. He also had Venus, Moon, and the Sun in his 12th house, which shows that Selassie had a very powerful pineal gland. Let me repeat, Haile Selassie, whether he was working for the government behind the scenes or he really cared about his people, Selassie had a powerful ass pineal gland. Okay? Because the 12th house rules a lot of things. Okay? It rules martyrism. It rules self-sacrifice. It rules spiritual wisdom. It rules natural, keen intuition. It rules our connection to the spiritual realms, the connection to the fourth and fifth dimensions. It rules how frequently we dream and connect with the spiritual realms. How frequently and vividly we connect to the cosmic water, to the cosmic current. Okay, that's shown by the placement of Neptune and our 12th house in our chart. Okay, how intuitive, how naturally psychic somebody is going to be is going to be shown in a person's water houses. It's going to be shown by their Neptune, Pluto, and Moon placements, and the 8th house, the 4th house, and the 12th house placements. And if somebody has a strong 12th house, that is going to be a very keen indicator that they are naturally intuitive, they are naturally psychic. Okay? And by Selassie having Venus and the Moon and the Sun here, this is showing that he had a very powerful pineal gland and a very strong connection to anything tied to spiritual enlightenment or spiritual progression. Okay? Okay? somebody like this, especially with Jupiter in his ninth house. This individual had great respect for other cultures, for other forms of spirituality. This person had a deep desire to learn and to explore, other different cultures and other customs of life. Okay. Venus in Cancer in his 12th house shows that he was definitely attracted to females who were water signs, who were Cancer. He was attracted to Cancer women, or women who were born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th of the month. And it shows that he was definitely attracted to Pisces women, or women who were born on the 7th, 16th, or 25th of the month. Because when you look at what kind of man when you look at what kind of woman a man is going to be attracted to in his chart, you're going to look at where his moon and where his Venus are placed. Okay? And his moon and Venus are placed in his 12th house. The 12th house is naturally ruled by Pisces energy. The 12th house is naturally ruled by Pisces energy. So when we see Venus and the moon in the 12th house of a man, this is going to show that this man is naturally attracted to Pisces energy. Women who hold Pisces energy, and Venus and the moon being in Cancer, okay, it's going to show that that man is naturally attracted to women who hold Cancer energy. So in a nutshell, by looking at this chart, Selassie may have been married to an Aries woman, like it shows in his chart, but he definitely had an attraction for women of, the water signs, Pisces and Cancer in general, or specifically. So, that in a nutshell wraps up Selassie's natal chart. Very, very interesting information. If anybody would like for me to, give them a natal chart reading, they can just add me on Instagram, RFG_chosen1, the number 1 on Instagram, and DM me for the information. I appreciate everyone who supports RFG and Atlantean movement. Please like, subscribe, and share. It's the Chosen One Man. I'm